Hi, today what I'm going to do is make a cabbage dish and I'm going to serve that with a lovely simple little hummus, but I'm going to use as the base of the hummus instead of the usual chickpeas. I'm using red lentils because red lentils are one of those store cupboard staples that are so versatile. You can make them into wraps, you can make them into so many things, and they're very quick to cook. I cooked these from dried. I didn't bother soaking them or anything, and they only took about 20 minutes to cook. Once they come to a nice rolling simmer, lightly salted water, there's nothing to them at all. And just using about a cupful there, they bulk up, they're a fantastic source of protein, many minerals as well, but they're so handy to use as a base or foundation for a really good healthy meal. The other thing I'm going to be using is cabbage. I'm using about half a head of normal white cabbage, one of the more dense leaves. I'm going to blanch these lightly in salted water, then cool them down very quickly. Just it'll make them a lot easier to cook when I pop them into the air fryer. I could always also roast these in the oven, but the air fryer saves me turning on the oven and waiting to heat up a big oven. Air fryer's a very useful piece of kit these days. I'm going to season them with a simple little Cajun seasoning. I'll actually make that now while I'm talking. So what I'm going to do with that is I have a Cajun Spice mix. You'll get these in good Oriental shops. It's a very, very common spice mix. So I'm not going to get too wrapped up and making up spices when I can buy them ready-made, excellent spice mixes already. So Cajun Spice mix. The next thing I'm going to do is put about a tablespoonful of apple cider vinegar in there. After that, I'm going to put about a tablespoon or about 2 teaspoons of honey. Doesn't matter if you're a bit over or under, you can kind of do this to taste essentially. And then I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And that's really all that's to my little spice rub, if you like, or marinade, which I'll be popping all over the cabbage, smearing it when I blanch those, and then into the air fryer. Another good tip as well is, this is a cake liner, but any kind of liner, a piece of greaseproof paper or something, just keeps the air fryer a little cleaner when you're using something that's more marinated like this. And then for the hummus, I'll very briefly make that as well because it's very simple to make. I'm going to get my liquidizer. You could use a liquidizer, the arm liquidizers, the one on the stick and things, or food processor if you want a little more coarse grained. But I'm going to use the actual liquidizer because I want this a little bit smooth for myself this time. I'm going to get my lentils. They're still a little bit warm. I just boiled them for about 20 minutes, drain them off. It's best with this to have them a little warm because you'll get nicer infusion of your flavors. They can go in there. The next thing I'm going to put in is, I've mentioned the recipe 3 cloves of garlic. I'm going to actually use 4, so don't be afraid to play around with it a little bit. Don't forget the lentils were cooked in very lightly salted water, so I shouldn't really have to season this either. Next up, I'm going to add olive oil. I'm going to add, I think it's 20 ml I've used, and I'm going to use the juice of a lemon. Then the next thing I'm going to do is use a tablespoon of tahini, which is a sesame seed paste, traditionally used in hummuses. And gives a lovely nutty flavour into it. Let's push the other part of that in. And that is pretty much everything in the hummus. So I'm just going to pop those onto the liquidizer, and I'm just going to give them a good blending. That's really all that's to it. Have a little taste of it there yourself. Make sure that your seasoning and everything is good. Perfect. And again, I didn't use salt because I had lightly salted it already. And that's going to become the base of with the cabbage. So I'm going to get on and cook the remainder of this dish now. Oh, and one thing I'm just going to briefly talk about actually It's garlic. Because garlic is an ingredient with an anti-inflammatory diet that has many, many uses. It's got an unusual compound in it called allicin. And it's that compound, when you chop or crush garlic, it kind of creates that compound, if you like. And what allicin does is it's a potent antioxidant, and it's also, so in other words, it can help combat oxidative stress, and it's been directly shown to reduce inflammation in your body as well. Also, garlic is a very, very strong and potent antiviral and antibacterial, and very good for antibacterial issues, infections, that's the word. And so, again, bringing garlic in, and because anything that's attacking your immune system is going to create an inflammatory response. And when you have arthritis, you want to reduce that inflammatory response. So any tools that you have that you throw at it, you know, every little bit helps. And as well as that, it's a very, very interesting it's been shown to reduce blood pressure, reduce cholesterol. So there's a lot of benefits to bringing garlic into your diet. And plus, it's a delicious ingredient and it helps enhance other foods. So it's a great thing to make food nicer, and that way you're going to eat food, you know, in a much more healthy way by bringing these good flavorings in. It's a very versatile ingredient. So anyhow, I'm going to get on and start cooking now. The very first thing I'm going to do with this dish is I've cut my cabbage into these nice chunks, half a cabbage, and kind of wedges, if we want a better description. I've brought a lightly salted container of water, a pot of water, just up to a nice rolling simmer. And I'm just going to pop that cabbage in because it'll just make it a lot easier to cook. And I'm going to let that cook till it starts to tenderize. About 5 minutes, I'd say, thereabouts. So when my cabbage becomes nice and tender, just nice pieces of cabbage ready to go. I'm actually going to keep these hot. I'm not going to refresh them. I know I had said that earlier, but it would be much easier at this point. So I'm just going to drain that cabbage off, and then I'm going to toss it in my spice mix. So there's my cabbage, which has just been drained off. And now what I'm going to do is take that little spice mix I made earlier, and I'm just going to coat all of my cabbage with it. Lovely. I'm just going to allow some of the water that was kind of in the cabbage just to reduce down before transferring over to my air fryer. So as you can see, my cabbage, I've reduced it all down with any of the remaining water, and again, I've got the flavors from that lovely seasoning to infuse right into the cabbage by doing this. So what I'm going to do now is take my little piece of garlic. I'm going to take my little liner, a piece of greaseproof paper, even tin foil will do fine, and I'm just going to pop that down onto the paper. And you have the remaining juice, just pour it over. And then I'm going to pop that in the highest heat in the air fryer until it starts to get lovely and kind of charry and just really nicely infused in together. So I'm going to pop that into the air fryer for about 30 minutes now. So after a 20-minute cycle in my air fryer, there's my cabbage. And as you can see, it's got lovely, a little bit charry, a little bit crispy, and absolutely delicious, because the flavour of that, because I boiled it a little bit in the marinade, the flavour has gone right through the cabbage as well. So to finish this dish, I'm just going to get a nice little plate. There's my hummus, my red pepper hummus. So what I'm going to do is put a nice generous amount of the hummus. Oh, when I was storing it there, I just drizzled a little bit of olive oil on top just so that no skins or anything would be forming. To put a nice generous amount of my hummus onto a plate, spread it out a little. So there's your protein element of the dish. And then And very simply, just take my cabbage. And pop the cabbage atop the hummus. And then finally, I'm just going to give the whole dish a little drizzle of some good olive oil. It's already well seasoned, but I'm just going to put a little bit of black pepper on top just to finish. And that's it. That's all there is to this little dish. Great protein packaged. You know, you have your garlicky, so you have your allicin from your garlic, sulfurous compounds. You have all the minerals and vitamins such as vitamin K from your cabbage. So this is really lovely and very filling because of those red lentils as well. So I hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to get on and have this for my dinner.